Alright, so this is my end of day recap for Tuesday. So it's only 1 p.m. right now, although I mean that's pretty much New York p.m. at this point. So obviously done for the day. I stopped tape reading pretty early. I would say at around um 11 a.m. around that time. But today could have been clean, but like especially during Asia. But we didn't really do too much today. So let's get into it. So we've seen both NQ and ES run this high out here, which is a bunch of filler swings on NQ here. And we created SMT with that high, with YM. As you can see, YM didn't take this out. Pretty spaced out SMT too. Then we at first created a string switch second stage SMT right here with ES. Double sweep SMT on NQ. So we have the 2-stage crack at the key level. So ideally, NQ did not take this out, and it just expanded lower. I hate when it does this. But NQ did take that out. So this is lower probability SMT. Pretty, shitty reversal away from the key level. But nevertheless, money does expand lower away from this SMT, displacing away, confirming the SMT very, very clearly. V shape, V shape. So obviously the SMT is respected. And you can say we kind of held that string switch, still lower probability, pretty shitty PA. I more of just counted this SMT as like new SMT going into Monday. But so we have proper framework on the daily, right? Order pairing ranges or manipulation ranges, range high to range low. Monday C2 confirm the framework, confirm the high of the week. So simply looking for Tuesday C3 continuation away from the high of the week, away from the key level towards the draw liquidity. So if Tuesday is going to create C3 continuation, price must respect EQ or the lower half pretty range. I want to see the wick of C3 form within the lower half and expand lower. So it has to do that. If it doesn't do that, then I'm not trading bearish. Yeah, I'm not going to trade. Why is it bearish? That's all I care for. Because I mean, if we do reverse higher, I mean, yeah, maybe we reverse away from this gap. But I wouldn't really care. I wouldn't really say that gap's prominent because he just hit it and just blazed through it. Didn't really respect it. Now we're just leaving filler swings with the draw liquidity. So it wouldn't be a relevant reversal on ES, and you want that on all assets. So, so let's refine the key level going down to the 4 hour. If it's a 4 hour, if it's the 4 hour, then it's likely a 4 hour gap, right? And so potentially we have a line framework, right? We the SMT with these eyes here, which again, I just counted this as new SMT. And then we displace away, creating a gap within the lower half pre range, or simply the closest 4 level to the new day they can open, which is the refined key level that I want to frame the high day away from. This is also the universal sequence on the 4 hour. So a line framework, right? Internal to external, which is aligned with the daily framework of order pairing ranges. And Asia is opening up close to that gap, right? Which is a PSP as well, which would be a continuation second stage PSP or whatever, continuation PSP. So I wanted to see Asia obviously today open higher. Like ideally, if we're going to be bearish, today opens higher at first into the refined level and then expands lower, creates that open high low close. That would make today much more higher probability. Especially since today, yesterday expanded lower like crazy. So we should undergo a new phase of price, right? Ideally retracement, and then expand again. But we did not do that. No asset going into Asia traded above this candle's high, 2 p.m., right? Instead, they just continue that expansion, and then 2 a.m. on ES reached the draw on liquidity on the daily, completing that universal model, and pretty much creating S&P with NQ, holding S&P, which is S&P break on ES. So potentially we could reverse away from this, right? Because it kind of makes sense. The day opens lower. And the 6 hour and 4 hour is extremely bearish. So I'm not gonna see continuation lower. It doesn't make sense to, because the daily has already, it has reached its ADR. So I don't believe that today is gonna continue to reach for the slow, possibly the slow, if we're gonna continue it. Probably gonna reach the slow, and then undergo a new phase price, and then maybe tomorrow we'll continue. But I know for a fact we're probably not gonna reach that. And yeah, so we reached that low here, which is here on NQ, and then we form strong switching like this originally prior to 6 a.m. But we clearly don't displace away from that. We just consolidate, but there's no displacement. Then 8 a.m. decides to, at 8:30, resweep the low. So this looks like shitty S&P, but we technically reswapped the previous 4-hour kind of low at 6 a.m. because 2 a.m. didn't close with a proper reversal, and there was no proper reversal within this wick here. So it's like, if we hit the key level, create S&P, whatever, and create that swing point, and price doesn't reverse away from that swing point, that's viewed as consolidation. So we give price 2 chances, right? It needs to resweep that low, and then it needs to expand away from that. If it doesn't do that, then that's kind of invalidation, right? So I was really just viewing this as the string switch here, because it's the string switch second stage SP that formed on the 4-hour. Or 6-hour. Right. So yeah. Then we create the C2 at 8:30, right? So that's the GXT reversal sequence. That should confirm the low of the 6 a.m. 4-hour candle and 6-hour candle. Right now the daily is aligned because it opens lower at first. 1800 is the high of day. So we can fade the daily candle. That's what we want to see if we're going to reverse or trade this day as a reversal candle bullishly. And the 4 hours aligned, right? We got that small wick. 6 hours aligned. 9 minutes aligned. Or not really, but still. Going to 9 it is. So so yeah, what do I want to see? Obviously, if this is the C2 that confirms low, the 6 and 4 candle, the day, whatever, daily candle. If we create a swing point away from the key level, if we create S&P, we should displace away from that. So I was thinking that possibly, we put in the reversal prior to the driver, 9:30 should expand away. And I was going to enter into this, but CC on the 5 minutes large, as well as on the 3 minute. I want to trade NQ because it's overall stronger, although it's showing weakness here. I just like the draw on liquidity because the frame rate's way better. I was going to do external and internal on the 4-hour or 6-hour. And target this gap here, the previous 4-hour kind of high, or 6-hour high, which is internal to the daily range, these highs here. So but which ES is like super close to those highs. So ES is probably going to reach those highs first. I know NQ is going to provide a better RR, so I wanted to wait for NQ, and I was simply just going to, even the 3 minute CSD is large. I don't really care for this here. I don't trust that. So if anything, I was gonna let this gap be respected. Going into 9 a.m. 8:30 C2, 9 a.m. C3, 9:30 C4. I want to see 9 a.m. Obviously, if this is the low of the 6 a.m. 4 candle, 9 a.m. should respect EQ this range or this gap and create the CICSD away from that, or CC, whatever. We just don't do that. We show no respect towards the gap, towards EQ of this range. We don't show it. We don't create the CICC, and then we disrespect that strength switch second stage SMT prior to 9:30. So obviously you wouldn't want to see price resweep this low. So now it's kind of looking like a floated mid plate at the key level on ES. So then potentially NQ could catch up. To break this SMT, but we know that we're not going to reach that low. So possibly this low here. Is that, you know, that's the next best target. And we technically had SMT via advanced premium to discount with current day range with YM. YM took out current day high, which if YM is going to continue lower from the previous day's range, which is from this high to this low, right? What's the refined kilowatt today opened up here? What's the refined kilowatt? This relevant swing on the 1 hour. So, and then we manipulate that at 6 a.m. open and create SMT, like I said, via advanced premium to discount. And let me go to the hourly. Goddamn, I can't. Sorry, shit. I don't even know why I care. Anyways, but yeah, we create SMT with current day high right here. And then when originally we created string switching like this. So this should have been the, it should have confirmed the high of the 6 a.m. 4 candle. We should have expanded away from that. The fact that we re-swapped that high out on NQ kind of disrespects SMT. It really just like, it looks like shit. So lower probability SMT, but did we displace away from it? Which will ultimately confirm the SMT. And you can say we do on the 30-minute. We create a gap, right? You can say we held the SMT, whatever. And we displace away and create a gap here. So universal sequence, right? Although, again, seeking continuation lower is lower probability. I didn't even see this honestly within time. I was more focused on bullishness because it's more high probability. Even though we displaced away from the SMT, NQ looks like, or YM looks like shit. But I still didn't know if this was going to hold, right? Because we had this here. So really depends if, you know, this is going to hold, if this is going to be prominent, and if this SMT is not going to be prominent, and if this is going to be the higher of the 6 a.m. 4 candle, then this gap has hold. Very clearly, 9 a.m. confirms that this SMT is prominent, this SMT is not. So we're probably going to catch up because ES is failing to manipulate this low at that point. And this should have been the string switch that confirms low day, and the fact that we're not respecting that invalidates bullishness for me. So we had no SMT sequence with or within the gap though. Right, and obviously I want to see string switching on this asset to catch up to ES. So we don't got that. And then we see 930 respect the gap and create a string switch via PSP. No SMT with the gap, obviously, like I said. Right. So so you can say this is the string switch to confirm asset sync, to confirm the universal sequence. Again, even though we have advanced premium discount with current day range, I still think seeking continuation lower on NQ and whatever is lower probability overall. So this asset sync is lower probability. And if you just look at YM, the leading asset that manipulated, And again, it's also pretty shitty that ES is the leading asset, and technically NQ is the middle asset right now, right? Like ES is the leading asset, but actually it's kind of shitty that that is the case. I just learned yesterday that GXT doesn't like it when he doesn't trust any like SMT when ES is the leading asset pretty much. Because typically ES is the middle asset, right? You want to see that ideally. So, but nevertheless, this is still valid. But if you just look at YM, it's like there's like no displacement away from this SMT. I don't like how this looks. I really don't. So kind of decoupled, right? NQ expands lower, YM expands higher. I've learned from last week that you probably don't want to trade when prices decoupled. It'll bite you in the ass in the end. And yeah, so technically everything's aligned here, right? Technically have SMT with current day high, or technically 6 a.m. is confirmed the high day with C2. So you can count this as like internal to external. I guess on the 4-hour, and 6 a.m. C2, 10 a.m. C3. The 1 hour 30 minute 10 a.m. is opening up with an aligned swing. So 10 a.m. C3. So the 1 hour 30 minute, the 4-hour, and the daily is aligned. And we have confirmation data sync. So you can see this is valid. Clearly we're wanting to reach for this low, but again, lower probability because extremely bearish on NQ. I don't care about the advanced premium discount, especially with how YM looks decoupled. It's like no displacement away from the SMT. Pretty shitty. So, and around this time, I seen this and I was like, I don't really trust it. I don't really care. Like I said, I wanted bullishness honestly coming today, and I didn't get that, so I didn't really care for this. So I just turned off the charts because I didn't want to force trade. I was like, that's a good thing. You got to be willing to. You got to eliminate FOMO, however you do it. And so I just chose to like get on the game and stop tapering price because I know that for a fact I probably would have taken this if I kept tapering. So when we look within 930, we have that clean V shape. I would take the 5 minute because the CST is higher. And I would take it off the CST because of I have to manipulate the RR. So I want to see 10 AM open higher first into the CST, stop at EQ. And price perfectly provides a 2 RR to the draw on liquidity. And 10 AM does open higher, provides an entry here at 10 AM immediately. Then we V-shape lower and create the CICC. Right when we do that, I'm trolling my stop to this high. And we expand lower again like that. I would probably go break even here, not gonna lie, because if we measure this range from high to low, I wouldn't want to see price come back up into OT like that. Like it's even above OT. Would not want to see that. Because if it was going to go up here to this area, it's probably going to reach up this high. So I might as well trim my stop to break even instead of taking a small loss at around slightly less than half risk. And now I'm, at this point I would be stress-free because the bag is secured, right? I mean, if I get stopped out, break even, it doesn't matter. So price should respect mean threshold of the CST here anyways. If it doesn't, that's an invalidation. Price nevertheless comes back up and takes it would have taken my stop out at break even. And price perfectly runs lower and reaches the draw on liquidity. So if I did have my stop at this high, I would have been protected. But again, I wouldn't want to see price do this. That's shit PA. And it's going into the new 30-minute candle, so it's like, who knows what price is going to do going into this, going into 10:30. It could easily sweep this high out before going lower, or not go lower, and maybe it reverses higher from nothing. So this would be a valid break even for sure. Yeah, and then Saturday price reaches the draw on liquidity. So this is something you can expect from PA today because we're extremely bearish. I'm not surprised that price did this. I mean, of course, price could have definitely reach the draw liquidity before doing this, you know. And I guess you got to be happy that price actually allowed you to try your stop to break even in this scenario. But still, pretty shit PA. This is like the only thing that I seen today. We could possibly worse away from this, right? But I don't really care for it because like I wanted the SMT right when we created the SMT break here on ES. I wanted to see price reverse away from that right away. The fact that we're not doing that, I don't really care to firm the reversal anymore higher away from this low because I know the draw liquidity is overall lower. It's now this low, and Q should catch up. So logically, any reversal higher, like even from this low, it's kind of trend. Something I would want to take. I don't really care for it, and we don't really do shit. Like it's now 1 p.m. Look at 1 and 2, just decoupled, consolidating, looking like shit. Yeah. So really shit PA. Obviously, there's nothing to do after that. So it's either going to be bullishness or confirmation was price confirmed that bearishness or bullishness is invalid. So then bearishness could have been clean going into 10 a.m. Even the 90-minute support of the expansion didn't show that, but so yeah. But again, going into 10:30, we don't know if 10:30 is going to resweep this high, but we do resweep the high on YM, which creates SMT. I don't know if ES did. ES did not. YM did, which creates SMT with NQ, which again is 680 PHP, but it's a string switch. So again, when Q is continuously showing weakness to catch up to ES or YM. But again, you know, when price creates that SMT here, there's no guarantee that price is going to hold that, or like, when did we create that? This looks like horrible. Like, that's literally barcode PA. That's crazy. Let's see. So yeah, we take that high out here originally. So like when price retrace higher prior to 10:30, and took my stop at break even, which would have been like right around here, whatever. We created the SMT with 10 a.m. high here on YM. So realistically, you know, price did this prior to 10:30. So I mean, I would have. Yeah, there's no guarantee. Ideally, YM created the SMT with 10 a.m. high early on. But even then, like maybe we created it here, right? And then maybe I could have been like, okay, maybe that's gonna hold, and I put my stop back up, you know, right here, and trust that price isn't gonna take this out because it's a second stage PSP in the form of a string switch. So we should expand away from that. Again, that's still a gamble because it's low probability, but close proximity SP, etc. But instead the S&P formed here. So I would have been taken out before NQ actually, or YM took that high out. So again, can't really anticipate that, I guess. But see, that's my end of day recap for today. Simply. So the daily framework was clean, I would say. Sadly, intraday PA was ass. The daily profile is what made today ass. For bearishness. I really wanted bullishness, like I said. That was invalidated. And then price provided a possibly S-sync bearishly, but again, I didn't like that, so I turned the charts off. Because I literally told myself going into today, I only wanted bullishness. Should have happened going into the driver, we just didn't get it, so. So yeah, just not the cleanest sequence for bearishness, just not the cleanest PA. I think it's valid. So the fact that I didn't take that trade, even if I did take it, I would have been taken out break even. So it doesn't really matter, but I would say it's a valid skip for sure. So that's my end of day recap. Yeah. And technically, by me not trading today, I did pretty much avoid unnecessary risk. I mean, price could have taken me out. Um, you know, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, but yeah.